What's up, Andy here, and yes, I have installed SteamOS on my wife's ROG Ally. I've still got Windows on mine, but I wanted to check out SteamOS because I thought she'd get along with it really well. But it is not officially supported yet for the Ally. Now, I know when they released SteamOS to everybody, when the Lenovo stuff dropped like a month or so ago, people were having issues with the Ally, with controllers not working and a bunch of other issues. And I just wanted to see, what's been going on with SteamOS? Have they fixed it? And yeah, they've fixed a lot of things. They've done a lot, but there's still some things that do not work that I've managed to fix with some workarounds. And I just wanted to show you how you can get SteamOS working really well on the Ally as of now. I'm sure more and more patches will roll out until it's officially supported, which may make this video a little bit redundant, but for now, there's some stuff that you really need to pay attention to if you're planning on installing SteamOS on your Ally. So let's go over it. But before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor, InstantGaming. Big thanks to InstantGaming for sponsoring today's video. Go and check out their website where you can find under RRP games for the Switch 2, the Switch, your PlayStation, your Xbox, all PC games. There is an array of stuff over there. So go and check it out in the link in the description. And also check the other link in the description where you've got a chance to win a game of your choice every single month with our collab with 128KB and InstantGaming. Go down into the description now and check out those links. So first of all, when you go to system, right, you're not going to be on these channels. You're going to be on whatever the one out of the box comes on, like stable or whatever. You don't want that. You want to be on main and you want to be on beta just here, but you can't select these from the get-go. First of all, you need to enable developer mode just here, down in the system settings, right? But then you need to actually go over to the developer tab, which is wherever that is, right at the very, very bottom, right? And then you can go down and go to show advanced update channels. And we want to do this because this is actually what fixed the back paddles not working for me. So the back paddles did not work. Yes, they are pink because, like I said, this is my wife's and they're actually flush with the back because she doesn't like back paddles, so I swapped them out for her. But yeah, you can still use them. So I've been testing this out and I like back paddles, so I wanted to make sure they work. And the way to make these work and also get the most up-to-date updates for the Ally is by using these channels. So operating system channel to main, and then Steam client update channel to Steam Deck beta. And now if we go down to controller and begin test, you can see that when I press the back paddles, it goes from false to true. Now it still doesn't actually come up properly, so it's still showing all four like back paddles, right? And there's only two, but at least these now work. So L4 and R4 are the things that you want to rebind per game for the back paddles to work. I'll show you all that in a minute, but yeah, that is how you get this to work. Previously, these did not work. And now that means when you actually open a game, you have to hold to exit. But now when you actually open a game, you can rebind those back paddles and they will work. Now you can see my SteamOS doesn't look like normal SteamOS, and that is because I have modified it, but we will go over that shortly. But what I wanted to show you is if we go over to the performance tab, and it is actually working with VRR enabled. So the screen recognizes VRR, it recognizes 120 Hertz. You can disable frame limit, which just puts a frame cap at 120, but I'd rather just leave it at the refresh, right? You can change a bunch of stuff here, but as you can see, there's no TDP options, right? Well, it kind of is right at the top, performance profile. Now, it doesn't tell you what these are, right? And I've not actually bothered to test exactly what these are, but I know that on the Lenovo and on the Ally previously, it was capping out 15 watts maximum, which we don't want. And equally, I don't want this. I want to be able to manually change it via a slider. So I've actually now got a per game profile TDP slider, which I can max it all the way out to 30 watts, right? But I've been actually using it under that because I'm not really using this plugged in. So I've been using it anywhere between sort of 15 to let's say 22 watts. But this is not As much as it's called Simple Decky TDP, it's not necessarily that simple to install, and nor is this. So we need to actually install DeckyLoader, which is a place like a storefront, which is free, where you can install loads of different mods just straight in from the gaming mode, which we definitely want to do. So what you need to do first is go over to Power, switch to desktop. Once you're in the desktop mode, open up the Firefox, right? It might have to install first, but just open that up and type in DeckyLoader, and then it's the GitHub link, right? You'll scroll down, there'll be an install. Just follow that. It will take you, it will say, like, do you want to open this file? You can run through that. There are install guides online if you want to see exactly how to do it. It's pretty simple. Just follow the prompts, right? And then that will be installed. And then you can return to gaming mode, and then you can bring it up. But before we do that, we want to install Simple Decky TDP, right? And what you need to do is actually just open the GitHub page for Simple Decky TDP, right? It'll open up like this. You want to scroll down until you find this line of text. You want to copy that. So just hit copy like so. And then what you want to do is go right into the bottom left, and then up here in search, hold this button and X to bring up the keyboard. Mine's tiny, it's like a bug currently, but whatever. And then type in console, right? It's gonna bring the console up. Either right click and paste, or use the keyboard. I'd just right click with the left trigger and then paste and hit enter. That's then going to install Simple Decky TDP. And now you'll be able to come over here, right? And you'll be in Decky, and you'll have Simple Decky TDP. Now, Simple Decky TDP, you can do per game profile, or just like, you know, override everything with this setting. I do per game profile, and then that lets me change the TDP per game, right? I don't really bother with any of this. I don't enable CPU boost, and I would only enable it if you know you need it. So if there's a CPU heavy game that you know requires it, like maybe you're emulating or whatever, I generally just leave it off myself. Scrolling down, you can change the TDP range. I've just left it all the way to the bottom, and I've maxed it out at 30 just because I know that's safe for the APU, right? And I don't even go to 30 unless I'm plugged in anyway. And to be honest, I've been using this handheld only. So I don't bother messing with anything else other than the max TDP and the minimum. And then I just come to the top here and literally use this slider, and that is it. That is an easy way to control your TDP. And if you want to see your game like overlays and stuff, you can go to performance just here. Now I've got it turned off, but you can go down here and show performance overlay in Steam, and that's now going to bring up your various overlays, right? So it's off. That's literally just your FPS. Then it goes up to the like top bar scroll, right? And then you've got this one, which shows you a bit more information, and then the big one, which shows you absolutely everything. So you can check your TDP and make sure it's working there. I've not had a single issue with Simple Decky TDP. It works absolutely brilliantly, which is really, really cool. So Simple Decky TDP is an absolute must-have if you want to actually control your TDP on this device, so I highly recommend it. Since we're here, we might as well talk about Decky anyway, because there's a bunch of other stuff here, right? So you can go into the store just here, and everything else you can find within the store. So I highly recommend you go and check these out. So I've got Junk Store. Now, Junk Store is actually a way, if I go to games, of seeing all your epic games, and you can install all your epic games right here. I don't really use Epic. These are just random free stuff that I've got like over years, right? But you can just install them straight from here. And once they're installed, you can go to library and it will be in non-Steam games, right? Because it will come up as a non-Steam game. I wish this worked with other launchers other than just Epic, but so far it doesn't as far as I'm aware. Now, lossless scaling is an absolute must-have in my opinion, because we've come from Windows over to SteamOS and now we've lost AFMF, driver level frame generation, software frame generation, right? So lossless scaling is a paid app, but this is so much better than the Windows application, because on Windows you have to open this alongside the game and you have to flip backwards and forward within a time frame for lossless to actually enable. With this, because it just pops up here and I can just go here, right, like this, you can just enable 2 times frame generation, 3 times, 4 times frame generation. Not that I recommend anyone to do any of that. Just 2 times is more than enough. I've got a whole guide on how to use this, how to install it, and how to get it running. So I highly recommend watching that video. But that is a must-have because that is the only way to get frame generation for every game, right? So that is wicked. I highly recommend doing that. Just remember it is a paid app, but go check that video out. Next up, you want hue sync because the RGB lights are not enabled by default. Even on the new Lenovo Legion Go that ships with SteamOS, SteamOS does not actually have support for RGB LED rings around the joysticks, which is hilarious, but whatever. Download Hue Sync. Again, you can download all of these by going to the little shop icon at the top right. Hue Sync then lets you control everything about your RGB LEDs. You can change it from rainbow, pulse, duality, which lets you change the color on each one, battery level, which I think is pretty cool, but I just like it solid, man. You know, so I just chose purple because I love purple. Change the saturation. I've dropped the brightness right down because I don't really want extra battery life drain. This is the original Ally. I've not done the battery mod yet. That will be coming soon. I'm going to mod the battery on this with the JSOC's battery mod. But so I just run them down at 25%. You can choose incrementally per percent, whatever you want to change it to, which I think is wicked. But 25% is enough for me to see them and go, yeah, that's cool. Like, I like it. So Hue Sync, absolutely recommend. Steam Grid DB is wicked. Now this is very, very cool. So Steam Grid DB lets me change pretty much anything artwork related. So do you see how loss of scaling here like sucks for the background? The hero art, I'll show you how I've changed the layout and stuff in a minute. But here I can go to change artwork. And let's go wide capsule. Actually, no, it's the hero, isn't it? Right? And then I can go to, let's just choose the duck, right? And now, ba-ding, I've got the duck. And let's just go over to like Stellar Blade. I've chosen this one, which is really cool. This is just the demo. I haven't bought it yet. I really want to, but I just haven't yet. And you can change it to all these very pleasant looking images just here if you so wish. Right, and you can change everything of how this looks, how it looks when it's a little tile, how the background looks, how the like wide tile looks. So this is a bit boring as well, right? So let's just change artwork. So I can change these, which is the little image. The wide capsule is what we'd see because it's the last thing I played, right? And we can go to hero just here, which let's just choose whatever. You've got a bunch to choose from. These are all just user made and stuff and uploaded, which I think is really, really cool. So you've got Ada over there, whatever. Let's just go all the way to the top and choose this one with Leon and Ashley just there. So there we go. So it's a way to customize your UI and I love it. Like I absolutely love it. I had most of these things on the Steam Deck when I used to run my Steam Deck, right? Like Steam Grid DB is an absolute must-have and CSS Loader is another one. Now within here, you can change extra stuff. So you need to go up to the download option and now you can see everything that this lets you do. There is a lot to do here, but I highly recommend that you go in here and you get something called handheld controller glyphs, because you might see along the bottom here, I've actually got the ROG Ally glyphs showing. So it's actually showing the legit button for the menu rather than just it being default Steam Deck stuff. So this is a must-have. I really like it. Well, it's not a must-have, but I think it is because it makes it actually feel like SteamOS was built for this device. And I think this is so cool. But there's other stuff you can do in here as well. So I've got Art Hero and I've also got something called like Round, just so you can basically just change everything. So this changes it so all my tiles and the carousel is now at the bottom. I've got rounded edges and you can choose how round they want to be and whatever. You can choose how big the artwork is at the back and stuff. I just like seeing it like this because I'm a big artwork dude. So I just like seeing this. This is the best thing. And this is what makes SteamOS so cool with these mods that you can apply via DeckyLoader. They're just so good. And that's pretty much everything I've got just in here. But it just makes the experience so nice. I love that you can just customize absolutely everything. Now, one thing I really like about SteamOS is that you get extra performance. So something like the Ally Z1 just here, I think SteamOS is actually a really good pairing for, because it basically just makes it a Steam Deck on steroids, right? So much better performance from the Z1 Extreme just here. But that's not what I'm here to show you. One thing I wanted to say is with the Z1 Extreme, the sticks are nowhere near as nice as the Ally X. And in my personal Ally X, I've got the handheld DIY TMR stick mod. So the joysticks are fantastic, but these kind of suck. So it makes aiming a little bit hard because they're just a little bit skatey and stuff. So what I've done is I've actually like modded Gyro into it. And this makes it so good. And you can just do this via SteamOS. So I was like, man, this game is really hard to play now. I was like, I wish I had Gyro. And I went, hang on a second, I do have Gyro. So you can go over here and go to controller settings. And this is where we can map those back paddles as well. So controller settings, we go down, enable extended buttons, and you can see here, right, I've just clicked in here and I've gone, I want left stick, so I want run on the back just there, and I want right stick on the right, but you can just remap to anything, including mouse, like whatever, you can just remap like absolutely anything. So I'm going to back out, which I think is really cool. But if you go down, you can change the gyro behavior. So I've got as joystick, right, and then I've scrolled down and where is it? Just here, button behavior is left trigger. So you can mess with this to your heart's content. But now in Resident Evil, I've actually got gyro. The only thing is, and this is what I wanted to show you, because I already had it enabled, now that I've backed out, that is a little bit of a bug, right? So I found that this happens, and the same with the back paddles is now they're not working because I've just tried to do it. The only way I've managed to find to fix this properly is either trying to redo it, which sometimes works, or just restarting your system. That is one of the things that the only major flaw in SteamOS running on the Ally currently, as of now, right, that I've found here. But if you don't go in here and like mess with it, like I just redid, right, then it works fine. So if you just load it up, you know, set your game once, it will work. But if you go back in there, oh, here we go, now it's come back. So it's just a little bit finicky if you go back and like edit it. But now my back paddles are still not working right now. So that is one thing which is annoying. But I love the fact that you can just enable gyro so that you can do fine tuning like this on any game. And you can see all the buttons work as normal. So this one just here, which is the Armory Crate button, now brings up all your quick settings and everything, which is wicked. I really, really like that. The other one, the Command Center button, now brings up all of the like Steam settings, which again is really cool. There is so much to do in SteamOS. There is a lot that you can do, and it's just very easy to do. I can even just like force quit the game if I wanted to, like so, and it's just gonna back me out, which I think is very, very cool. The only issue that I have is the fact you cannot change your VRAM, and that is something I almost forgot to tell you about, but I'm gonna tell you about it now, because you can still change your VRAM. So I'd recommend that you go and turn off, so just find shutdown, right? And we're gonna just shut the Ally down. What you want to do is go into the BIOS. So I find the best way is turn it on and then just spam the minus button, and then that will bring up your BIOS just here. So now we want to press Y to go into advanced. We want to use the bumpers to shift across like so, right? And then what you want to do is go to advanced, scroll down to UMA frame buffer size, and this is your VRAM allocation. You can go up to 8 gig, but honestly, I've found that Linux does really well with auto. And I've seen a lot of other people saying, just leave it on auto and it works fine. I've not had an issue with this at all. I had it set to 6 gigabytes, which I'm kind of inclined to just leave it there because of the type of games that I'm going to be playing and stuff. But I've tested this going from 6 to auto, and there was no noticeable difference. So I just thought, you know what, I will let Linux say, you know, how much system needs and how much the GPU needs. And I've not had an issue with this whatsoever. To get out of this, press Y easy mode. And then you want to just save and exit with the top button up there, save and reset with, there we go, just press A and then leave it and it will just boot up into SteamOS. But there we have it. This is SteamOS on the ROG Ally, and everything works. The only like quibbles I have is the fact that you can't change the VRAM like within the system and force a restart. You have to do that from the BIOS, but at least you still can. And the only other thing is that those back paddles and the gyro sometimes is a bit finicky when you go and re-edit them. But everything else now works perfectly with the help of DeckyLoader and all those added mods just there that I've shown you. I think SteamOS running on the Z1 one is brilliant. I think this is such a good pairing. I like Windows on my Ally X, but for someone like my wife, for example, like using the Steam Deck, I think she would have a really good time running this, provided she was just going to play single player games or whatever, because again, you've not got anti-cheat, you can only stream Game Pass and stuff like that, which is a downside. But you know, maybe all of that changes once the Xbox OS comes out, the new slimmed down Windows operating system, which will launch with the Xbox Allies, which we will see very, very soon. More on that on the channel in the future when it comes out and we get our hands on one, right? But for now, if you're looking to use official SteamOS instead of Bazzite or any of the other ones, I actually think it's usable. I really do, and I've been having a blast with this. More performance, it's been really, really good fun. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, let me know down in the comments. Let me know down in the comments if I've missed anything else or anything else you've done to your Ally, which is, you know, a must do. I'd love to know if I've missed something. Whilst you're down there, like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you can talk to me over on the private Discord, and stick around for more handheld content as well. See you later. That's then going to install Simply. Oh my God.